In this lesson, we will be covering how to project edges from one feature to create another feature. This can be very helpful in creating some sketch features. Instead of going back and recreating those, we can basically reuse them. Or in another case here, which we're going to do in this example to start off with here, is I want to create a relationship. So if one of the features changes, I want the other feature to change. So to start off with here, I'm going to create a sketch on the top of this rectangle that I have. I'm going to place in a circle, and I'm going to dimension that circle, and let's make it 20 millimeters in diameter. I'm going to return, and let's extrude that up, and let's take it up 10 millimeters. So what I want to do now is I want to have the exact same feature on the bottom of this, except in this case I want to create a cavity from that geometry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the sketch on the bottom plane of the part. But now instead of redrawing in that circle from the 2D sketch panel, we'll scroll on down till we get to the Project Geometry tool, and I'm going to select the circular edge. Now in this case it wouldn't matter if I selected the top or the bottom, being that they are exactly the same. Now if I spin the model around, you'll see that that circle has been projected, and what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to extrude that circle, and I'm going to cut the geometry in 10 millimeters. Now there is a relationship between those edges at this point. So let's go back and modify the 20 millimeter diameter, and let's make it half the size, make it 10, update, and it updates of course the top extrusion, but you'll notice that the bottom cut has also been changed to match the projected edge. Now if I want to break that relationship, I can do that. I'm going to make sketch 6 the active sketch, and from the 2D sketch, let's click on Show Constraints, and the constraint that's appearing here, this is a reference constraint, and I'm going to go ahead and delete that reference constraint, and let's do an update. So of course that reference constraint, it's basically tying that relationship. So let's make this larger again. Let's change it back to 20. The top extrusion updates, and the bottom did not. So I broke that link, and once that link is broke, you basically would need to go back and reproject that edge if you wanted to reassign that relationship. Now, we're going to do one more. I'm going to make a sketch on this front plane. I'm going to draw in a rectangle. And we'll do the same scenario. We'll make that go a little bit larger. Now, in this case, we'll do the exact same scenario. I'm going to make this front plane the active sketch, and we're going to slide on down here until we get to the Project Geometry tool. But the difference here, instead of selecting the individual edges, I'm going to select right in the middle of the plane. And by selecting inside the middle of the plane, you'll see that it projected all of those edges that fell on that plane. But if I go down to the browser, expand that, you'll notice that there's an entry here called Projected Loop. So if I right-click on that, there are some options here. And let me bring the browser up so we can see it a little bit easier. If I right-click, so of course I can delete it, but I can also break that link. So let's not break that link quite yet. I'm going to again do a cut here. And let's make a change to the first sketch. And I'm just going to slide these edges down, do an update, and of course that change appears to the back side here. Now to break that loop, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the sketch active, right click, and say break link. So let's do return, and you notice the cutout still happens correctly. But again, let's go back and make a change. I'll just grab those edges, make them fairly large. And you'll see that change did not occur on that back face. So now if I went back and made Sketch 8 active, I can go back and place whatever other dimensions I want. Again, there's no way to go back and make that relationship back into place here. Once it's broke, it is broke. So if I right click here, you'll see that there is no option to recreate that link.